March 8th, 2021, regular meeting of the City of Coolidge City Council to order, and ask everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Norma, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Eric Daniels.
Present.
Councilmember Tina Kaufman.
Present.
Vice Mayor Steve Hudson.
Here.
Mayor John Thompson.
Here.
Councilmember Jackie Henry. Councilmember Ben Navarro.
Here.
And Councilmember Tatiana Murieta. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Norma. If the others show up, we'll just add them on.
Acknowledge their arrival time.
Okay, the first item of business is approval of minutes, discussion, and action. Item 3 is for the City Council regular meeting of February 8th, 2021. Item 4 is City Council regular meeting February 22nd, 2021. Are there any corrections, additions, anything you want to take out of there?
No, sir.
No.
Okay, hearing nothing, Eric, none?
No.
Okay, then I need a motion to act.
Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I make a motion we approve the minutes as read.
I'll second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, business items for consent. These items 5 through 10. The items are all done, considered, and voted under one vote. Does anybody have any of these items they want to be pulled off for separate consideration?
No. No.
Okay, then I'm going to read them. Consider approval of appointing Alana Soto to the Library Board to serve the balance of the term expiring December 31st, 2021. Number 6, consider ratification and approval of submitting a 2021 grant application to the Gila River Indian Community in the amount of $204,989.75 to purchase 25 Motorola APX 8500 mobile radios for the Coolidge Police Department. Item 7, consider approval of entering into a commercial lease number 03-105-002-00 between the Arizona State Land Department and the City of Coolidge for the purpose of renewing the current lease for a portion of state land located adjacent to the south boundary of the Coolidge Airport. Item 8, consider approval of the amended lease agreement between the City of Coolidge and Gila Local Exchange Carrier, Inc., doing business as Avalon Communications for the space known as Room Number 13, located at 351 North Arizona Boulevard, Coolidge, Arizona, consisting of approximately 174 square feet. Item 9, consider award of bid to play at safe playgrounds and park equipment to install playground equipment for Walker Park Playground Project, and authorizing approval to unfreeze capital funds in the amount of $46,572.29 to purchase the playground equipment. And item 10, consider approval of entering into an agreement for construction between the City of Coolidge and Ramirez Custom Concrete, LLC, for the construction of approximately 300 feet concrete sidewalk along West Vaca Inn Road for an amount not to exceed $14,270. Okay, I need a motion to act.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve items 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 as read.
Second it.
Get your second on. Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that carries. All right, I'm going to move items 11 and 12 to the back of the calendar in case our other two members show up. Item 13, consider approval of a final plat submitted by Hilgard Wilson on behalf of Walton Global Holdings for a subdivision replat of Landmark Ranch Parcel 2, located west of 9th Street between Coolidge Avenue and Martin Road. Mr. Lopez, is that you?
Mr. Mayor, yes it is. Mayor Thompson, Vice Mayor Hudson, council members. This is a replat of an existing platted subdivision, Landmark Ranch 2. And this one was done back in, let's see, the history was, we did it back in 2006 when it was recorded. And it was approved, the original plat was approved in 2005. So all we did is fix some minor things that were on the plat, just some corrections, and then actually all the setbacks were already set on the original plat, and all we got from it was a little more setback in the front on the driveways. I think Councilmember Navarro called us and asked about that. And so we, with our trucks that we have in town and the SUVs, it allows for a little more distance, and so the vehicles don't overhang into the sidewalk. And here's an example of where it's at, or actually a map of where it's at, so you can see it. And it's up on the top right. Tim's got the pointer there. So it's directly west of the existing Landmark subdivision. And so Planning and Zoning approved this, and on February 10th, and they had the public hearing also, and they went ahead and approved staff recommendations. And then on there, what they did also, this shows the setbacks, the rear will be 15. So, but we got, like I said, we got more room in the front, so that's good. And we'll answer any questions you may have. There's no public hearing on this, it's just discussion and action. So if you have any questions, Tim and I are here, and answer anything you have. And we also have a representative here.
Do they have to go with the same setbacks that they had then, or the setbacks we have now?
They use the same setbacks they had then. The only difference is the one in the front where we got a little bit more, and then we reduced the back. And Planning and Zoning did that when we were it was a request by the developer Walton International. Because
we just changed some out in Martin Valley, as you recall, on the corner lots.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Is that the same thing here?
No, these were already existing at 5 feet. You didn't have to take action on the corner lots. They're already set.
And the one across the street from it doesn't have an HOA. These will have an HOA?
Mayor, that's correct. Yeah, it's on the plat, I believe. Yes.
Okay.
So one of the concerns from Parks and Rec was that the city wasn't going to have to maintain, the amenities and the open space, and that's not the case. The HOA will maintain these, just like they do in Heartland and the other places.
Okay. All right. I want to make sure of that. And the open space and everything's in compliance with our regulations?
Yes, Mayor. It's compliance of when it was platted and everything. I believe it's probably still in compliance now.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
No? Nothing? Okay. Then if there's no questions, then I guess we need a motion to act.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion we approve item 13 as read.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 14. Consider approval of entering into a cooperative purchasing agreement between the City of Coolidge and EUSI LLC through a City of Globe contract for professional services to operate the city-owned wastewater treatment facilities at a cost not to exceed $177,447.72 per year to be paid monthly.
I'll handle that, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, 2 weeks ago we had a presentation by EUSI. They came in and shared their experience with the mayor and council about how they've assisted other cities that have been in similar situations to how we are right now. As you know, effective the end of this week, we'll have no employees other than one recent hire who has a wastewater one operator license working at our wastewater treatment plant. Oscar Palacios retired after many, many years of serving the city, and then immediately following his notice and his retirement, we found out that Denise retired from the city as well, wanted to retire. So left us kind of in a precarious situation. We've been trying to advertise for a wastewater treatment plant superintendent for a number of months, immediately upon receiving notice from Oscar, but we have not had anyone submit their qualifications to take on that responsibility here for the city of Coolidge. We learned a couple of weeks ago that we're not any different than many cities in Arizona and throughout the country where they're having difficulty filling these positions. So we reached out to EUSI LLC. Mr. Paul Hendricks, Mike Hendricks were both here, and they've done a remarkable job. I've had many meetings with them. I just met with them before this meeting and talked to them about what they're going to do for the city. I think one of the first and most important orders of business that they'll help us with is to address one of the biggest concerns that we've been hearing about lately, and that is the odor problems at the wastewater treatment plant. Because of those odor complaints and concerns, we're receiving more and more frequent phone calls from the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality asking what we're going to do about that. I've assured them that we've got the technical people here to evaluate and monitor and find out what the main sources of the odors are coming from. In my conversation with the EUSI, I believe that they know where those sources are and what can be done to correct that for the city. The contract is at a cost not to exceed $177,447.72 per year. They will be our staff, really. They'll be training our one employee out there as we hopefully are able to get another position on board in the not too distant future. They'll be doing some training for that position, and eventually I think we want to wean off of the contract with EUSI and then have our own people, operating our plant again like we had for so many years. But I'm telling you, it's a very critical situation that we're finding ourselves in right now. We need this experience and expertise to come in here and help us remain in compliance. One of the other things that they'll be doing on Wednesday is meeting with ADEQ, who's going to come out in here and do a site visit of our facility, and we need them there. And so recommending that the mayor and council approve the entering into the cooperative purchasing agreement between the city and the USI through a City of Globe contract for professional services to operate our wastewater plant. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Mr. Hendricks is here. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer questions that you might have as well, but that's our recommendation for you tonight.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, Rick, the two employees that retired, what is their salaries? How much are we saving there?
Gabe and I were looking at that today. When you factor in benefits and all the other things, the number's quite a bit higher than what their ending salary was. But I think when you look at this, we're pretty much, you look at the positions that we've budgeted in our wastewater treatment plant, and you look at the cost of this contract, it might be slightly above what we have budgeted for our personnel costs. I think I'll tell you exactly what it was. Got it right here. Wastewater superintendent position. Let's see here. Superintendent of wastewater operations, that's what they call salary range 70. The entry-level position starts at $66,139, and the maximum is $99,209 with a midpoint of $82,000. I believe Oscar was over the 82, somewhere between midpoint and the higher salary, where she had the benefits and everything else. Then we had the other individual in here, wastewater treatment plant operator 3. Find that here. operator 2 position was between 38,418 and 57,627. I believe Denise was in that position, and we elevated her to a 3 when Oscar left. And then we have our, basically our entry-level position at the wastewater treatment plant, our 1 position, and that is not popping right out here. There it is, 33,128 to 49,691. We had, for the longest time, we had Oscar, acting as a superintendent. We had Kenny Knowles, and Denise. Those are the 3 employees that we had, and they had anywhere from operator 2, operator 3, and then wastewater treatment plant superintendent. Those were their positions.
So with insurance and everything, which you add about another 30% on top of that for benefits.
Gabe, is that about right? 30% more? Yeah.
So it's pretty close with the contract.
It is. It's very close. I mean, I think what we're going to end up doing, though, is while they're here, helping us through some of the issues that we're having, we'll bring on some other people and let them do the training and get those people, built up some of that with that expertise. We had rural water out here last couple weeks ago, also talking about their what's it called? The program. Oh yeah, apprenticeship program. Sorry, I was losing the word there. Apprenticeship program. May very well work with them as well to help do the training. Some of our people.
Thank you, Rick.
You're welcome.
Mr. Miller, you and I have met with some engineers regarding the odor,
Yes.
the smell, the Heartland Ranch issue. And we've talked to other people, and it could be coming from probably 2 or 3 different areas that we've talked about. The long run from
Yes.
the college here, the headworks, and some of the other things. The bacteria lying in that line because we don't have the flow coming through. Is this company going to just bring somebody around the plant, or are they going to bring enough people that they can deal with all these problems quickly? Because these citizens have been smelling the smell a long time, and we need to get on this.
I think they'll quickly identify what the problems are, how quick we'll be able to find the revenue stream to fix those problems is another, and the solutions to those problems need to be brought to our attention. We believe, and Mr. Hendricks might answer this if I'm speaking incorrectly, we believe that the 2 principal problems of the odors are at our headworks, which is on the facility property itself, as well as the large lift station and the large force main that as you said, is pumping very little effluent out of Martin Valley compared to the size that it was built to, which it takes so long for that effluent to reach our plant that you start to having the bacteria, the reaction of the hydrogen sulfide gas build up. But they've identified some issues that will require funding to fix, and I've already been having conversations with them about that. And they won't be fixing those problems. They'll be telling us what needs to be done to kind of rectify those problems. We also met with the 1 engineer, Mayor. There's a lab specialist that will come in here and help set up some monitoring. We need to monitor several locations. It's not just 1 lift station. There are several places where we may be seeing some odors. So they want to set up some monitoring to give us a better record of where these problems are happening and give us a better picture of what kind of mitigation we can put in place to take care of those odors. But I can't sit here today and tell you that it's going to be within the next couple weeks or couple months. But we know that we'll have answers to the problems as soon as they get on. They'll start working on it tomorrow. So they said to me earlier.
So what about the monitoring? We talked to that engineer about 3 weeks ago.
Paul, would you like to, or Mike,
Yes, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, Chris Hendricks with EUSI, managing member. Your question related to the engineer coming in related to the monitoring. Is that your question, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, they as Mr. Miller had communicated, they will propose to set up some continuous monitoring devices that will measure the hydrogen sulfide gas. They will also come and do liquid stream testing of the actual wastewater to measure various constituents within it. That could be an indicator of long residence time, et cetera, or confirm some of the things that we believe may be going on with the system. What that will do is when they call, we'll have some information and some real data points to share with these folks to say, look, we've monitored this, these are some levels, et cetera, as opposed to, well, it's not an objective thing. This is what we see, and here's some real data points to help us with addressing those concerns. Does that answer your question, sir?
When they call, it means either the complaining party or even ADEQ for that matter, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, it'll be ADQ now because that's who the citizens have been calling, so. But, yeah, well, it kind of did, yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, because we've been getting a lot of action on it, and you know, we should have taken some action. We've been shorthanded over there, and I don't think they've been pumping out doing the lines either, so.
It's a complicated, I don't know that they've been, we were talking about that this afternoon. I don't know that there's been a lot of difference in what they've been doing. And, we know that we have people complaining. I don't know that we can ever guarantee that you're never going to smell anything coming out of that wastewater treatment plant. That's the nature of wastewater treatment plants. So whether we're going to be able to completely resolve their concerns or not, I don't know.
I think it'll be a step in the right direction. At least it's putting forth that we are recognizing there's an issue and we are actively working on it.
We want to be in compliance with the requirements of ADEQ. We don't want to be out of compliance. And that's the last thing we want. It's the last thing you want. And we're going to do whatever we can to stay in compliance and to produce the data, produce the lab results and everything else to show we are compliant. Or not, and what we're going to do to fix it.
Well, and as long as you have a good rapport with ADEQ, their mission really isn't to fine, is to educate and support. So keep that avenue open, and they'll work with us.
Well, I'd love to make them happy, but I'd like more importantly than that to make our citizens happy. So I'm not overly concerned about ADEQ. We've worked a lot to try to get our landfill closed, and they keep changing the rules of the game on us. So, but I do want to make sure that we do everything we can to take care of this problem. So, welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time. Are there any other questions from the council? Okay. Very good.
I believe tonight is a step in the right direction, Mayor.
Okay.
Actually, quick question. When is the official last day of our retiring employees?
This Friday, I believe, is it Matt, this Friday? For Denise. Oscar's already gone.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Daniels, that is correct. We had one, our wastewater superintendent left on Friday, that passed on March 5th, and then the remaining employee, other than the one that just started, her last day is this coming Friday.
Okay. And then, so, in the meantime, we're still going to be actively, I guess, recruiting. Are we still going to be looking for the superintendent position or just entry level?
Not right now. We're not. Right now, with them coming on board, we, Matt does have a wastewater treatment plant operator license, operator 4. They'll be the operator, but we'll hold off on the superintendent for right now. Okay. And let them come in and help us. What we don't want to do is pay this contract price and then the price of the employees and benefits. So.
Definitely.
How long would we wait before we reopen the superintendent position?
Well, we've been trying for months now to get somebody to apply with no success. I think we have some ideas, Councilman Navarro, about how we can bring some people up and train them into that position eventually. But it may be a year or two.
No, that's my concern. If we've waited, a few months, haven't had anybody apply, maybe we should keep it open and perhaps be a little bit pickier since we have. Well, we might get someone on board. I'm sure we will, because we're kind of between a rock and a hard place right now. There's nothing. We got to have somebody.
We're working some ideas. We have some ideas that might work out very well for us. Bringing some people up that have expressed an interest in maybe learning this trade as a possibility. So,
I mean, how long would it take to get somebody, you need somebody who's a level 3, right?
That's correct.
If they train from not knowing anything, not having any experience whatsoever, how many years would it take to train somebody up?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Councilman, that's normally it takes a year in between each grade level certification. And so for a grade water operator 1, a grade 1 wastewater operator, they can take that with a high school diploma. Following a year of experience, they can take their grade 2. After another year of experience, they can take their grade 3. However, we are with the apprenticeship program that we have that's established with Rural Water Association of Arizona, there is the possibility that the intense training that's offered through that program will help to shorten the time frame in between the certification licenses, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. And so we've already reached out to ADEQ and their operator certification program with a hypothetical situation that if we were to train somebody from in-house who barely has a grade 1, would it be possible that they could compress that time frame from a year to 6 months in between going through the apprenticeship program through Rural Water?
Theoretically, we could pull somebody from in-house, whether it's our new hire or somebody else from Public Works who might be interested.
Given time, yes, we could.
Given time, we could do it within the means of this 3-year contract that we're talking about.
Yes, and that's our intent to do so.
and I think the EUSI has indicated to me tonight that, if we get to a point where we are hiring and have people coming in, they recognize that we would begin to, their responsibility would wane some, and then that cost would come down, kind of work on that. Rick?
That's all I have.
Not here? Okay, if there's nothing further, then I guess we need a motion to act.
Mayor, if there's no further discussion, I'll make a motion we approve item number 4 as read.
14?
Yes, item 14.
Thank you, sir.
My second.
Okay, Norm, did you get it? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it.
Thank you.
Move to 15. Consider approval of adding a wastewater maintenance foreman position at range 56 in the salary plan and allow the Public Works Department to fill said position.
Mr. Mayor, one of the things that we've, again, talked about internally here is creating a position that doesn't currently exist in our list of positions. And this would be, the title would be Wastewater System Operations Foreman. This would require someone with minimum qualifications of having a grade 2 or higher wastewater treatment operator certification. And so, kind of talking with Matt Rencher, we feel that this may be an opportunity to, where we could maybe get someone in here that can start getting some better training with a title like this that would begin to understand the inner workings of the wastewater treatment plant that we would need, that someone would need to kind of work with EUSI. Obviously, they're not going to be here 24 hours a day. We get call-ins and other things. This person might be able to come in and do some of the simple fixes, or responding to some of the emergencies. But the position we feel is necessary. We're not going to fill this position right now. It's just put it in there, and then we feel it's appropriate time, maybe we start advertising for this position.
Do you have any questions?
With this position, when they moved up eventually to a grade 3 and could be the main guy over there, would they bump up grade-wise on this?
Yeah, I think the grade 3 would be higher. This position may very well work into a wastewater superintendent position, which would be even higher yet. So there'd be opportunity for advancement.
That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Okay, then I guess we need a motion to act.
Make a motion we approve item 15 as read.
I'll second.
So motion and a second, you good? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. Okay, move back up to item 11. Consider award of a bid to RTP Farms, Mark Poe, to lease 322.7 acres of city-owned farmland surrounding the wastewater treatment plant. Who's got that?
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, at the last council meeting, you did hear this item. Council elected to table the item until giving the opportunity to Mr. Poe to come in, the other applicant or the other bidder, Mr. Bagnell. They wanted to come in and share their thoughts about their bids, to answer questions, to introduce themselves, talk about their experience, maybe do something similar to what Mr. Bartlett did for the council at the last meeting. Obviously, city staff at the last meeting, we informed the council that we went out per council direction and requested bids. The good news about going out is that the bids came in much higher than what we were previously getting on the farmland, which is about $23,000, and the high bid in this particular solicitation came in at a little over $64,000. I don't have the exact number right here, but so it was worth it to go out to bids to get a little more revenue coming in to help support the wastewater treatment plant operations. We did make a recommendation that the mayor and council award the bid to RPT Farms, Mr. Mark Poe and Janet Poe, to lease the 322.7 acres of city-owned farmland around the wastewater treatment plant. That's our recommendation tonight. And then if you award the bid, or if you decide to go in that direction, then the second item on the agenda would be the agricultural lease agreement between the city and the Poes. I'm happy to answer any questions.
No, not yet. Hold on. So let's go ahead. I wasn't at the last meeting, but I did watch the last meeting on video. So I want you to know that I'm well aware of what happened at the meeting. So I'm aware that you both had a chance to speak. Mr. Poe wants to speak. I'm going to allow him to get up here and say something if he wants to.
I just put in the bid, and I'm aware of the affluent water, all the rules and regulations. I've been farming all my life. I'm the only one in this dispute that lives in the city of Coolidge. I was the highest bidder, and I don't know why we're at where we're at now.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Did Mr. Poe?
No.
Okay. I don't have any. I've read all the documents. Thank you, Mr. Poe. I
You're
appreciate it. Is Mr. Bagnell here? I don't see him. Okay. Do you have anything that you want to add differently than what you talked about? Okay. Step forward.
Well, hopefully the council's received a bunch of paperwork not everybody received last time. But if you reflect upon page 4 of the request for proposals, it gives an evaluation criteria of 4 different items. And the 4th item is benefit to the city. And on my response to on my bid proposal, I went into detail, and last 2 weeks ago I spoke on that. And I'd also like to correct a misstatement that was made 2 weeks ago. If you look at the bid proposals, the dollar factor is only one part of it. But the dollar factor, I did put a bid in on the entire acreage, but as customary for agriculture, generally you reflect to a per acre, farmable acre. So I conveniently did that math for you. And so there's 2 numbers on my proposal. And obviously the per acre, I wouldn't go to a tenth of a penny, which that's the way the math worked out. And with the staff issues you have going on, I'm sure I could be of some benefit to the city on that. And then over the last 20 years, the city has elected not to do anything with increasing the rents. And so we found ourselves 20 years later, and then the way this proposal went out, I found myself in a position where I felt like I was bidding against myself. I know the good, I know the bad, and so it put me in it just put me in great conflict with myself because I felt like I was bidding against myself. It was kind of an unfair procedure and kind of customary with that many years experience and that economic investment that I have over such a long time. It'd be more customary to offer me the opportunity to meet or beat the highest bidder, but not be in direct competition with myself. And so there's a lot of reflection on the dollar, but there's other benefits that need to be highly considered. And then taking care of the city in the last 6 weeks, I've been 2.5 months, been maintaining the water levels and so on to keep the city flying the right direction and not get themselves in any trouble.
Mr. Bartlett, I have a question for you. Do you have crops in there now, on the field now?
There are crops on the property.
On the property. And how long will it take for them to cycle through?
The cotton has not yet been planted, but land preparation is pretty well finished, but it came to a halt on December 31st. A little bit more to be done to that, but the alfalfa crop was new as of last year, and traditionally alfalfa is kept for about 3 years, and depending on soil types and amount of water, ponding with soil types and so on, sometimes you can stretch 4 years out of it.
And so cotton's not in, but the alfalfa's in, and it's
Alfalfa's in and being productive, yes.
About how many acres of alfalfa do you have?
It's split just about evenly, about 140 and 140.
Thank you. Right. Does anybody have any questions for either one of these gentlemen?
No.
Yeah, if you, go ahead. Please,
As far as benefit to this, I'm sorry?
for the record, please state your name.
Thonetta Wang Bartlett. As far as benefit to the city is concerned, Bruce has put over $200,000 in ditching, improvements, cleanup on that property. Over the course of 20 years, I'm guessing that's $100,000 a year, in addition to the $20,000 rent that, $23,000 or whatever that he's paid. That's significantly higher than either of the bids. But also the Bartlett family put the gazebo in the park. He put the shades up at the West School. He leveled the baseball fields at no charge to the city. I would guess that's part of the city improvements that they're referring to on that particular category. Or am I mistaken?
No, that wouldn't, those would be not, those are unrelated to the farming operation.
Oh,
We're talking
okay.
about
But the
benefits,
$200,000 that we've put in cement ditches and leveling and that sort of thing, cleaning up the old pig pens and the old abandoned buildings, and
In my opinion, would be considered.
it should be, yeah. Thank you, I appreciate you listening.
Thank you. Sure, well, yeah, come on up.
She talks about the ditching and stuff. It was all through the ASCS office, and they paid for it. It didn't come out of his pocket. He didn't run the borders and clean the hay up. I went and run the borders and cleaned the hay up before they watered it. My guys spent, when I thought I had got the bid, because it was so late, I spent 9.5 days cleaning it, the farm, prior to getting ready. I ran every border on that farm. There's 2, maybe 3 good hay fields out of them all. The rest of them are full of weeds. If it was mine, I would take them out. And that's all I have to say about that.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a point real quick. Just, he said he was informed that he was a high bidder. We let him know that he was the highest bidder. We did not inform him that he had been awarded the bid. I want to make that clarification.
Yes, that is true.
Okay. Mr. Poe?
Yes.
Do you have any idea of how much money you spent? You say it was 9 days?
Yeah, I mean, it was a mess. I wasn't going to go in there. You know, when I started out all money. So, since I thought I had the highest bid, I started cleaning.
But do you have any idea of how much money that you...
No, well, whatever. I had my backhoe over there for 9.5 days and 2 men. Every ditch that was bad, I shoveled by hand. I had them shoveled by hand. So it's not as rosy as they paint it, is what I'm trying to tell you.
The weeds that he's referring to, they're actually Roundup resistant. Bruce has been talking to the professor, you'll have to ask Bruce the name, at the University of Arizona, doing quite a bit of research trying to handle that particular situation because the chemical that we took really not in the water system. But the dicamba ended up tied up at court, we couldn't use it. So Bruce has actually been making an extremely, his due diligence, he's really been doing the research through the University of Arizona trying to resolve the weed issue.
He speaks of some inputs, at December 31st, I was unknown, but to continue to put financial investment into something that I was unsure about. But I do have labor since the end of the year running irrigation. And so, and I disagree with, there's 2 fields there, but because it is limbo, and you have to have a minimum acreage of a crop mix in order to handle that effluent in the wintertime. You can't just arbitrarily pull fields out.
It's all timing and that stuff, you know. I mean, if we're going to get real about it, if the farm hadn't been cleaned in years, I wasn't going to go there, but, I mean, you need to know that.
That's not true.
Okay, all right, thank you. All right, Mr. Fitzgibbons, I have a few questions for you. Well, let me ask. So then you have a cropping plan already in, Mr. Bartlett? You have a cropping plan already in for the...
Yes.
Okay.
After this cotton comes off, there's been more mix. And the balance has to change because of the situation with the effluent plant.
Okay. We don't know. Maybe we should look at, I don't know that we're doing either one of these gentlemen, and they're both old Coolidge farming families, and I think they both are well respected in the farming community. So I want to make sure we got everything right before and if we vote. I want to look at a few things, Mr. Fitzgibbons. I know what it says here on the agenda, but I know that they need to, whoever's going to get this needs to get the crop in the ground, and they need to get going. It's getting late. So the problem I have is this is the 3rd month. We've got nine more months, and then we don't know if what's going to happen to the fluent. We don't know. There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts from our side, and we don't know what's going to happen with the water situation. So if we enter into a 5-year contract or lease with somebody, and I know there's outs in it, but if we enter into into it, and somebody gets in a place where they're counting on it, because there's no doubt that the water situation is going to get a lot worse the next year. Not this year, but next year, the water situation for the farmers are going to get a lot worse. So I want to make sure that we're not doing a disservice to either one of these families by entering into a lease with one of them and then having them count on something that may or may not be there based on what we do. So I know in December we were looking at continuing it, and I've read the new lease, and I've looked through the old one. I know, what was it, May 4th or something, when they did the original, May 4th of 2004?
I believe so.
I think so. But I'm wondering if we could go month to month until we decided what we were going to do, and then go. But would that discard the current bids, or what? What would we have to do, Dennis? And I'm just.
Yeah, because I think, Mr. Mayor, you're referring to the effluent situation and how long the city, I think the city believes and I think everybody believes the value to these farms is not so much the land, but the effluent that flows on the land. And at this point, the city is still evaluating how long that effluent's going to be there. I know the city's evaluated different things to do with the effluent, and I think the plan is in the next 12 months or so, that effluent's not going to be allowed, is not going to be going to these farms, because it's
To our farm.
to our farm, because we're going to use it in a different way.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, members of council, I think I've reported before that we are very actively involved in nearing an application to the Arizona Department of Water Resources for a water storage permit and a groundwater savings facility. That application hasn't been reviewed and approved yet. It takes 295 days to have that application reviewed. That's how long it takes. So it could be almost a year before we really know whether we're going to be able to put water somewhere else and receive long-term storage credits for that water or not. Both of the farmers that they're talking tonight both know what our desire is. We really believe that water is much more valuable going on other farmland to get those long-term storage credits. I wish the law would allow us to keep it on our land, but the law doesn't let us do that. We can't get long-term storage credits by continuing to irrigate our farm. It has to go on somebody else's farmland. I've talked to a number of farmers, including Mr. Poe, actually. He's one of the farmers that has land immediately to the south of the plant that could be a potential recipient of some of this effluent water if we're able to get that approval from ADEQ, or ADWR, sorry.
Okay.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Rick, when they did these bids, they knew exactly what we were just talking about, that there's a possibility a year and a half from now, there wouldn't be any water on it. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
Item 17 in the contract.
And so when we did go out to bid, it increased the revenue for the city of Coolidge by about $40,000 a year. Is that correct?
Yes, it did.
Over a 5-year period, that's $200,000. Okay. Thank you.
Well, we did just hire a couple consultants, 2 gentlemen that were in here a few moments ago. Have you talked to them about their thoughts about the future of our water?
Well, they think we're doing exactly what we should be doing right now, going after the long-term storage credits for this water. They think that is where we should be focusing our attention. They say we're doing exactly what we should be doing by making that application for a groundwater storage facility, yes. That water is worth about $800 an acre foot. I'm sorry, $800 an acre foot. If you're watering green belts, $200 an acre foot. If you're basically selling the water for farming operations.
So realistically, this water's only going to be on that land for about a year.
Yeah, that's my hope. I mean, I hope for the benefit of the city and the wastewater treatment operation and future revenue, yes.
So I have a question for our city attorney.
Go ahead.
Mr. Bartlett has alfalfa on the fields. And so my question to you is the city responsible to reimburse him for his alfalfa that he's planted?
I don't, Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Henry, not contractually. I mean, whether he wants to bring a claim someplace else. And I'll tell you where you see this provision is actually in Bagnell, where he made changes to the agreement. He brought up the phrase where some farmers negotiate and get a certain amount per year of the alfalfa, saying that if you terminate my lease and my alfalfa is only a year old, you'll pay me X amount per acre of alfalfa. That's not in Mr. Bartlett's current lease, and that lease expired in December, and we've just continued it on a month-to-month basis. So that's not in his current lease. So contractually, I don't think the city would be liable. Whether he pursues another way, I don't know. He could. I don't know.
I know that in reading, when we got the paperwork and in reading their bids, some things weren't real clear on the bids. You kind of had to use your imagination as far as the financial stability. Maybe I'm taking it the wrong way, but in neither one of their proposals did they present any financial stability, in my opinion, other than stating that they have been farmers and have farmed for several years and that kind of stuff.
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Henry, again, I don't want to speak for them. They can speak for themselves. I think anybody that's been in farming for over 20 years and are still farming have to be doing something right. And so we've seen a lot of farms go by the wayside for a lot of different reasons. I'm not vouching for anybody's financial stability, but if I think I listened to both of them tonight, they've both been doing it for over 30 years.
Right. But in the bid, it asks for that type of stuff, and I don't feel like any of them, the three bidders, did the 11.3, and that's just my opinion. I've known both families forever, I know that they all have farmed for many, many years. I'm not saying that. I'm just thinking that I feel like this bid proposal, things were not done. We did not receive the proper information that we requested. And I mean, that's just me speaking.
In council is the evaluators of the bid proposals. I mean, that's, you guys are the ones that make that decision. So.
All right, then. Are there any more questions?
Mayor, we set these things up for bid. We got a bid. It was as we approved the highest bidder, and I'd make a motion that we accept the bid of our Petit Farms.
I'll second that.
Okay, well, in that case, I guess there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Four. Okay. Opposed? Stan, you?
Oh, no, I said aye, sorry.
Oh, did you?
Councilmember Daniels, were you against the vote or for
No,
the vote?
for it.
You were for the vote?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well, it was the top. So that's, yeah, there's 5.
6.
Oh, 6, yeah, then I'll go aye. It's a done deal. All right, consider approval of entering into an agricultural lease between the city of Coolidge and Mark and Janet Poe, DBA RPT Farms, to lease 322.7 acres of city-owned farmland surrounding the city's wastewater treatment plant.
This is just the lease portion of it. Last one was awarding the bid. This is the lease. You have it before you. You know, approving the lease would kind of go along with your award of the bid.
Okay. Any questions on the lease?
I just have one question.
Okay.
So we've got, in the lease, it says for 5 years, but we're talking about doing away with the water. Is there any way that you can do the lease for 1 year?
We could, but I think there is a provision in there that allows them to.
Well, I know there's a provision, but you know, I can't see approving a 5-year lease when we know we're not going to have that water going to that farm.
Don't know that for sure yet until the ADWR authorizes that, but we're hoping that.
Do we have a pump on the farm?
We do have a well on the farm, yes, one well, and I think there's a few inoperable wells, but one operable well.
But there is possibility to pump water out if the person decides.
There is a well that is there. I think that there is some copper wire that's missing from that well that wasn't reported, but we do have a functioning well as I understand it. I'm not a well expert, but I do understand that there are a few that are not operating, but one was operational. And I believe that there's other ways to get water to the farm besides just the well through the canals. And
All right.
No further discussion. I make a motion we approve the lease. Item 12 is read.
Second.
Second as well.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, carries. All right, report from the mayor and council. Any got anything?
Starting with me, I'm recovering. I haven't done spit for the last 6 weeks, so.
Steve?
But I'm on the mend. I do read the emails that we get from Chief of Police. You guys are knocking it out of the ballpark. Keep up the good work, keeping us safe. Love you, mean it.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to attend the chamber banquet, and the guest speaker was the county supervisor, Kevin Kavanaugh. He did a great job in the presentation, and then the following Wednesday, I had the opportunity to have lunch with him and his wife and his assistant, and Lynn Parsons, and looks like right now they're in the beginning stages of finding a building, a lease, to have an office given Coolidge for the county supervisor. So it's nice to have somebody that has Coolidge's interest in them.
Excellent. Good news.
I got nothing. I know, I got nothing.
I just wanted to announce I'm changing my office hours every Friday. I think I'm going to do 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Usually it's on Thursdays, but I'm switching it to Fridays. If you want, I'm doing in person or virtual. Other than that, that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Miller?
I was gone last week. I think I informed the council. My stepfather passed away, and I was at his funeral. 93-year-old World War II veteran. Remarkable man. Took care of my mom for a lot of years. Good to be back to work. But I've been up to my nose in effluent, so I'm trying to learn everything about our wastewater treatment plant. Working hard on those issues. Very good tonight to see the bid awarded for the sidewalk. That'll provide a sidewalk to the Imagine School crosswalk, which has been needed for a long time, but we got it done. And I'd like to thank was it Tohono O'odham grant, I believe, that helped fund that, if I remember correctly. And so a lot of good things happening, a lot of home construction and building, and we're not seeing any slowdown. Had a meeting with Nikola Motors, and they're moving along very well as well. So.
The guy that's doing the concrete work for that sidewalk is a Coolidge resident.
Yep, he's my neighbor.
He is a Coolidge resident. That's really good.
It is.
He gave us a pretty good bid on that.
And he does good work.
shake it with your hands. You'd have been right at home.
I would have been.
But, no, and then, Mr. Lopez and I met with the new county supervisor, actually for a couple of hours the other day. Had quite a discussion with him, so. It'd be a lot different having somebody from Coolidge in that position. It's been many years since we've had somebody, so that'll be good.
Benefit us for sure.
Definitely.
So, well, I don't think there's anything else. Thank you, everybody, for coming. We appreciate it. All the departments and officers, keep doing a good job, and I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.